Welcome back to our YouTube channel, guys. My name's Ardil and today's video is a start of a new behind the sound series on a Porsche Macan GTS, an absolutely lovely vehicle that we've actually got in at the moment for an incredible stock look sound system. In today's video, we're going to be running you through exactly what we're up to, stripping the car down and talking a little bit more about some of the products that are going to be going in. But before we get onto that, what we've got to start off with is actually going through with the team our full setup and then obviously making a plan for the install and then cracking on. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. But before we get on to today's video, make sure you guys at home have subscribed to our YouTube channel because we've got a massive competition live on our channel at the moment. We're giving away a brand new PlayStation 5 as well as an Audison Prima amplifier. All the details are in the description below. However, let's get on with today's video. With the initial brief all done, it's now time to begin stripping down the car and prepping it for its install. However, before we get down to that, we actually all sit in the vehicle, whoever's working on the car. So we have Carl, Steve and Lewis working on the car at the moment. Steve is our project lead, so he sat in the driver's seat and we listened to the vehicle. The whole purpose of this is to listen to the actual flaws from the existing system before we start our work on it. In terms of what that is, we found a lot of resonation and rattles that were coming from those front doors, especially when you turned up that volume, which is something obviously we need to get rid of, and that brings us on to soundproofing. Soundproofing, you have heard me bang on about it plenty of times, but this is slightly different. During the audio consultation with our customer, I spent around about 2 hours or so in the end with our customer, specking, designing the whole system, every single detail, listening to our demo car, having a tour around a couple of vehicles that we had in and going through all sorts of different parameters of the install, and we ended up with this lovely system. In terms of the soundproofing, we're actually using a 2mm layer as a Skins 2mm black system. So basically he wanted this to look a little bit nicer behind the scenes, and that's exactly what we've done, but still providing a real benefit. What we've actually done and what soundproofing does is basically, this is a 2mm layer, but we also do a 3mm layer. Basically gets manipulated and cut up into key areas inside the door card, reducing rattles and resonations, building a better environment for a sound system to work in, as well as reducing a lot of the road noise that you got. So from factory, basically all they use is this material here, which is useful. It is thermal insulation. However, what we've actually done is added in this soundproofing across the whole of the door card. And as you can see, cut up and manipulated this all into these little key areas inside here, but still retaining the ability for this factory material to sit over it, still providing that additional layer of soundproofing into the vehicle. So this is going to make a massive difference and getting rid of those horrible rattles that we heard earlier when we were all sitting in the vehicle. So inside here, what have we got now? This is basically an unsoundproof panel. So this is the door card removed. We have the stock location for the speaker of the main woofer in the door. The 3-inch actually gets mounted to the inside of the door card, which we're going to replicate with the new speaker. This had a 3-way front end. We'll move over to the rear speakers a little bit later on in the video, but it had a tweeter on top of the dashboard, a 3-inch in the door, and then a woofer down in the bottom of the door here. All those 3 components are going to be replaced, providing a really nice sound stage in the vehicle. We're using a mixture of different products, and again, we sat down with the customer for around about 2 hours speccing this system, and we customized depending obviously a little bit on budget, a little bit depending on obviously sound quality that we wanted, and also depending on the customer's music taste and what he was actually looking to achieve. We tailor-made this whole package for our customer, and that's why it's so important to come by for an audio consultation, because we literally go through everything in a load of detail. We're using a Horningsea Legend tweeter on top of the dashboard, 3-inch Audison Voce mid in the door, and then a Miele Legend 7-inch woofer down in the bottom of the door card, providing a really nice amount of mid-bass performance. But inside this door, what have we actually done so far? We haven't actually started the soundproofing stage on this particular door, but what we have done is added in a little bit more of a soundproofing touch, which is basically acoustically deadening the cable runs. So these are actually what you'll find as all the factory cables. What we've not done is limited any access to anything, but we have cloth taped all of this, so it's all carpeted, all really neatly tucked away. Reason is because we're adding more power into the system, we're adding better quality components. Basically what's happening inside this door is we're moving more air around, causing potential more rattles. And this is where the soundproofing stage in your install comes in to be very key. Not only is the importance of adding that Skins 2mm or 3mm layer that we're adding in, but also the way we're doing the install, pinning everything down where it needs to be, as well as also protecting that manufacturer cable runs not limiting anything in terms of obviously access points or anything like that, and we'll work around all that. So anyone working into this car later on, whether it be ourselves or Porsche, anyone going into the store can very clearly see exactly where we've been, exactly why we've done something, and it's all very, very logical. But this sort of stuff makes a big difference and reduces those rattles and resonations that happens when you add more power into a system, that happens when you actually increase the actual movement of air inside a door. And then after this install's done, I'm sure there'll be no rattles, resonations, even with that volume turned right up. It's now time to talk about the actual components that are going into that front end of the vehicle. So we know they had a 3-way front end, basically comprising of a tweeter, top of the dashboard, 3-inch mid-range in the door, and then the main woofer in the bottom of the door. So starting off with those higher frequencies going into a stock location, and Carl at the moment is actually 3D printing a couple of pieces that are going to be making this install possible in terms of actually making it fully reversible. So what we've actually got is this Hertz Miele Legend tweeter. It's a Miele Legend 280. All of the product links are in the description below if you want to see a little bit more of the tech specs behind each one, but a phenomenal tweeter. What I want to do is actually highlight something that's going to be coming very, very soon on our channel, so it's worth subscribing so you don't miss that. It's going to be something called Sound Off. Basically what Sound Off is comparing, kind of a bit of a weight comparison, comparing products against other products from the system. Basically comparing, say, the Miele Legend tweeter over what comes from the stock Macan GTS system, as well as all of the components that we're replacing. So it's well worth a watch. It's quite an interesting little video that we'll be filming a little bit later on. But that's basically the tweeter that will sit into a stock location. Moving down into the actual door, this is mounted onto the back of the door, and what we're using is a mid-range. Basically, it's a 3-inch product, quite a small little product that basically kind of separates the sound, if you would, away from that tweeter as well as away from the Miele Legend woofer that's going into the door. The reason why we use a mid-range is basically to kind of take the power and also kind of stress away from the Miele Legend woofer. So it's not actually, it's kind of just separates that sound across the vehicle and builds a really, really nice soundstage. It's not a necessary part because of the level of actual components we're putting in. The Miele Legend tweeter and the Miele Legend 7-inch woofer can blend in terms of frequencies across each other. However, what this product does is actually separates that, takes up that middle area, so there's less strain on the product around the lower frequencies as well as the higher frequencies, and creates that separation of sound and less strain on those products, which makes a big difference on a system. Over to the actual woofer inside the door. As you'll see inside this door, it is all soundproofed already. There's still a little bit more to go in, but this is the 2mm acoustic soundproofing that we're using from Skins. In terms of what's actually going into the bottom of the door here, is what this is actually called is something called a Hertz Miele Legend 7-inch woofer. This is a phenomenal product, providing a lot more mid-bass into the vehicle. And just to give you guys a bit of a glimpse into what you're actually going to be seeing in Sound Off, this is the actual factory woofer itself. I mean, you can tell just by the size of the magnet here. But in Sound Off, we go into a little bit more detail about the magnet design, the structure of the actual products itself, but you can see the difference just visually from the products itself. This is going to provide a lot more mid-bass into the vehicle and really create that beautiful soundstage that this customer was after. Creating that overall surround sound effect is so important, and that's where rear speakers come in. It really does fill the vehicle with sound and in a beautiful way. In terms of the way we actually spec the system, we've gone for what's called a coaxial design in terms of the rear, which will basically sit into a custom baffle that Carl is printing out of our 3D printer at the moment, all done completely in-house. Lewis has already done the soundproofing stage, which has done a phenomenal job. There's still a little bit more to go into this, however, it looks absolutely phenomenal. So the Miele Pro is a coaxial design. What the coaxial design means is basically the tweeter is built into the actual center of the cone itself. So you've got basically a balance between those higher frequencies and those lower frequencies, all designed in one space. Even with the quality of this component, it is absolutely incredible. The metal structure that it's got is really solid, and it's a phenomenal component to provide that rear fill in the vehicle, really filling the whole interior with a beautiful soundstage that's going to make a world of difference, having the ability to just really give that surround sound effect inside the car. You now know the speaker configuration, but now it's talking about amplification and powering the system. And honestly, do we have a massive amount of power going into the vehicle, but completely hidden away. Customers after a stock look system, massive increase in clarity. That's exactly what we're delivering with this system. We've got 3 products going into this boot area that's going to be completely hidden away, but installed in a really, really nice way, which you'll see later on in future videos when the fabrication side of it starts. In terms of what we've actually got here, we've got two amplifiers. We've got this amplifier in my hand, which is something called a Hertz Melee Power 4, as well as an Audison Voce 5.1K, which is an incredible Class A, B, C amplifier, incredible bit of kit. The way we're actually running the system is that 5.1K is actually only utilizing 4 of the channels. The 5th channel, which is generally used for the sub channel, what we're actually doing with that is leaving that at the moment, just in case the customer wants to spec the system a bit later on, add a sub, and we're not having to then buy another amplifier down the line, saving our customer some money, but still providing an excellent solution right now, as well as later on. This 5.1K, we're using 4 channels of that. So that's basically going to run a fully active sound system for the tweeters, as well as the Melee Legend 7-inch woofers. And then we're going to be using the Hertz Melee Power 4 to run the 3-inch mid in the door, as well as those rear coaxial speakers. The reason why we're using a fully active sound system is because we gain a lot more control over the system. We'll talk a little bit more of that in the tuning video, where we go through in a little bit more detail about the advantages of tuning a system. The product itself is something called a Hertz H8 processor. What this processor allows us to do is control every inch, every detail of the system. It makes such a difference having a processor, especially on an install like this. And that's exactly why during the audio consultation we went through all of this with our customer, and we've come up with a really, really lovely system, and I'm sure he's going to be over the moon with it. And he actually came into us because he watched Schming 150's SLS Black series that we did, and he was a big fan of that video and that install, and has been following our channel ever since. And we're really, really proud to be meeting our customers that have been following us on our YouTube channel. So anytime you guys at home want to come by, have a listen to a car, have a tour, see our premises, come by, just give us a call. We're always more than happy to have you by, or come by to one of our events. We're more than happy to have you by and go through everything in a load of detail, just like we did with our customer today. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, but also remember there's plenty more content coming on this vehicle, as well as a whole host of other vehicles on our YouTube channel. So make sure you guys at home have hit that subscribe button below, but also like and share the video with friends and family and other people that might enjoy today's video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.